although Carla, like there were so many days where I'm like looking at you and you look tired, you looked
Really?
beat up,
Really?
you looked, your hair was all disheveled.
Really?
But as time progressed, you were like, okay, I'm plugging it in, but I have to do the hard work first. All right, welcome to another episode of Mindset Mastery. I'm your host, AZ Araujo, and as you just witnessed our new intro, I love this whole process of evolution, right? And it always comes on the back of the hard work, the monotonous work, the painful, and sometimes this work that we just hate. And I want to bring, I have Carla here with me today, Miss Carla Araujo.
I like your intro. It's pretty cool.
It's not bad, right?
You guys need to step it up on my intro, guys.
Your intro, I saw you a little jealous.
I was just in here, how can I make that just as good as mine?
Uh-huh.
Mine needs to get touched up. You hear that, guys?
I get priority around here. These guys like me. But I want to say good morning to everyone because I think today's topic really is going to be, because we're going to go deep on this because I think as business owners, we need to hear this, that, the work is not always fun. The work is sucks. I mean, most of the time it does
miserable.
suck. It's miserable. It's a miserable place to be in. But the work, this pattern and this path of being in this misery is what equates to a life on fire. And, this is something we've been preaching for years. This is something that we brought into our lives back in January 2014. And back then it was all a methodology, Carla. It was a methodology of like, if you do the small things every single day, if you focus on all things, then, everything will be impacted and your life will be radically different after so many years. And I think, we're a testament to that, along with many, many others here within the, the brokerage are a testament of the work.
I used to hear all the time. And I thought that was something that I live by, I think, in some sense. You don't have to work harder, just work smarter.
Yeah.
But to get to that point, you must work hard.
You must work hard.
You must work, do the things that are like going to be uncomfortable. You must work long hours and the work is going to be difficult. But sometimes I think when it gets too far out there of like, becoming this negative person of when are things going to happen for me, people start to give up.
Things, yes.
Yeah. So, the long hours seem like dreadful long hours and it's never going to happen for me. And it happens in this industry a lot in real estate, where it's like, when is this all going to happen? Why do I see these top producers? I'm doing everything that they're doing, but they're not seeing the back end of it on how much they're putting in long hours and neglecting their families and, separations and divorces and lack of relationships with their children and so many things that they're doing. You're only seeing one aspect of their business. Just like us, when people come and see us on social media, they think real estate is our life. And only if they knew we have other businesses that we run and other things that we're doing and that are requiring a lot of hours, lack of sleep. I used to wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning. Now I'm waking up at 3:30 in the morning to make things work. Right now we're starting something new.
Yeah.
And it's exciting and it's fun, but what goes up must come down. And so the long hours and, these moments of like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to stop? No, it's not. Why would I want it to stop? It's too much. It's enjoyable. It
makes
like
you
hard
wake up in
work.
the morning, right?
Yeah, it makes me just want more of it.
Like if you didn't have this, right? We could complain about getting up early in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. But the reality is if you didn't have this, there'd be no reason to wake up at 3:30 in the morning, which means if there is no reason, you allow things to kind of just take its own course. And when it takes its own course, we end up in situations where it's like, why did my life end up this way? Right. And, even starting up this, and like for all of you, some of you are in the cusp of getting to that next level with your business. But we start thinking about how much work it's going to entail, how much responsibility, how much cost.
And I think people are willing to do that and take that responsibility on. But again, it's just they see themselves only so far because they say, well, if I get here, that's all I need. And then I can, just relax and then invest in all these properties. And that's why I say investment because everybody's investing right now. Everybody is. I mean, it's a great market. Everybody's buying. Everybody's doing all this. But again, you and I have all these investments that are out there, right? But it's like, we're not going to stop there because we don't even see them like that, right? It's more like, what else can we do? Because it's just a fire that we need that, is constantly being lit to next projects and next projects. And we're not changing the projects. We're just modifying them and becoming really great at it.
Really good.
The work has changed multiple times. And,
yes.
but it always remained coaching and consulting. But we've always added so much to the work because it's so universal. But it's like the long hours after all these projects from all of us, and they don't see the back end. They just see the enjoyment, the laughter, the fun. But they have the results. They have no idea, and again, I said this in one of I think it was at your meeting, the sales meeting, like, congratulations, you've done all this in 60 days. No, it's taken me years to develop the coaching and the fitness and to do the work. Only if you knew what it took, just one woman alone, just me. And then I brought this whole fitness in there, right? But it's so universal, and your coaching has been there forever. We were rekindled before all this.
Yeah.
So all this, but people don't see that. People just see 60 days. People just see the do the work. But when the do the work has been in the mix way years ago. Again, all we did was it remained the same. We just, new brand, new modification, but no one saw those long hours.
They don't see those long hours. And with your business as well, and every successful business out there, that's why I say it. If you run into a player, a top producer in this game, like, give them the respect that they deserve, because it wasn't on the back of just, being content with what they got. When somebody continues to grow their business 20, 30, 40% year after year, that means that they've exceeded, right, their capacity and then modified it so that they can make it work in today's, so they can sustain and still be at the cutting edge of still growing their business. Right now we understand that it's going to require long hours as we put more processes into not only aides and associates, but do the work. And we're okay with that, understanding that, hey, it's going to require less sleep, late nights. It's going to require some tension sometimes between you and I. At the very beginning, Carla, you and I did, like, if we said 2 words to each other during this entire process, that we would consider that a conversation, just because we were so ingrained in building. And I think we have to get back to that. But if I focused on all the things that it was going to cause, like if you would have told us beforehand, like, hey, it's going to require you to get up, go to bed at 12, wake up at 3:30. It's going to require you to be on your phone, 7 days a week. It's going to require you to even feel some tension in the relationship. I think most people would steer away from that. Right. But because we just focus on taking care of what's required,
right,
it doesn't seem so overwhelming.
And, and I also didn't, there's so many things too, because if you sit there to think about new projects that you start, and you're just like, it's going to take, like you said, it's going to take away from the family. It's going to take away from, your sleep, your all kinds of things about you. Then you're not putting in that work that is required for that. So you can't, at the end of the day, say, I did everything I could to succeed and it failed. No, you failed to see what you did. You failed to require what you are, to the hard work that you needed to put. That's what you failed to see. You just wanted to see the outcome so fast. And it's like, no, you just failed to put in that hard work due to the fact that the overwhelming thoughts in your head were like, it seemed too much. But when I started all this, it was just like, I know I'm going to be away from my family. My eyes are attached to my phone constantly. Because I want the results. I want the results, not just for myself in the business, but also for my clients that I'm having out there. I want the results. I'm massively addicted to seeing results. And so that is my job, and that's what's required. But it's not something that I started just 60 days ago. It's something that I started years ago. It's just now it took off. It took off because I seriously now put 100% into it. And versus before, I was putting into work, but I was doing the brokerage and do the work, right? Both, a little bit of both. Now it's like I put in so much hard work in AZ & Associates that it's still running. It's still phenomenal. It's still great, right? But now it's like, okay, I can put a little bit more time in to do the work and really, really do great at it. Because when you love what you do, it doesn't seem like hard work, right? But it didn't start off like that. It definitely did not start off like that. It started like, it was a ton of work of just my knowledge growing, becoming more aware of what needed to be done, and just learning from my mistakes and not giving up to saying, well, all the money that's going out and nothing's coming in. It's like, I didn't worry about that anymore. It was just like, I'm just going to worry about results and the hard work, because I want to live by 2 things. I want to make sure that at the end, I want to make sure I gave 100% and I gave it my all, like 100% gave it my all without fear. And 2, to see it all developed through my hard work was like, wow, appreciation for my hard work. And it's like, okay, great. What's next?
What's next? And, as I start seeing, businesses grow, and that's the beautiful thing about it. We're in a vantage point where we start seeing these businesses start expanding and growing. And I see some individuals, continue to lean in and start seeing something greater for themselves, where they're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to invest in more employees. I'm going to invest in showing agents. I'm going to invest in a transaction coordinator. I'm going to invest in a lead generation and a website and in CRMs. I'm going to do all these things. And even though it may be a cost to them and it's going to require some learning in the front end, it always pays off on the back end. And I think that's the focus that we all need to, really pay attention. We're not doing this just to get to a certain, income level. The focus has to be on what else is next. And when you don't focus on the results, but focus more on, when you don't focus on the work, right? And you focus more on the results, it allows you to see something even greater. What we didn't know, and I mentioned this as well, like we didn't know is that this fear of getting into this building, right? All the financial, one of the biggest financial investments that we've made, we didn't realize it was going to open up another door of opportunity. But because we took the risk, we're able to now see and manage a greater operation and have a lot of fun doing that. But we also understand that when you first begin your business, when you start expanding to the next level, it is going to require a lot of your attention, a lot of your work, a lot of your energy. But it's not always going to be that way. If your job is to, first understand that there's got to be systems and processes added. What a lot of people don't understand is we've added like 3 more employees since we started this entire process. Now, were we in a position to hire 3 more employees 6 months ago or 8 months ago? No, we weren't. But because we decided to focus on the work, on the result, and not necessarily the monotonous work or what it was going to be required to get there, it all came into place.
I don't want to. I'm going to bring this up a little bit off subject, but same thing. I just remember when all of us got together and we were like, hey, let's do this, program. I'm like, okay, no big deal. I just didn't realize it was going to go this far. But it has always been there. And of course, everybody masterminded and kind of blew up, right? But I remember it was so many thoughts and in my head. It was just a bunch of vomit. Like, oh my gosh, I want this to massively grow. How can I modify things without feeling overwhelmed? And because once you start thinking about money-wise, like if you start thinking about, well, I need to hire more staff, I need to hire this, I need to hire, but a lot of money's going to go out, nothing's going to come in. It's like, no, screw all that. If I want to grow, I need to grow, and I'm going to go all in. F it. So I remember grabbing your 12-week target book, and I remember writing out, because it was a lot of vomit in my head. And my notes, I was writing on my phone and my calendar and on my laptop. I'm like, I got to write all this on paper. So aside of you coaching me through the process of what's going to happen, I also hired another mindset coach. So I had a couple of people in my head that was like, hey, this is what is required. And I didn't want to remove myself from a lot of hats that I was wearing because I felt so overwhelmed. Like I needed to be in the position of everything. So I grabbed your 12-week target book. I just remember writing all these things. And I'm like, there is no way my words can escape from me because they're staring right at me. And I got to get this done. So I remember new systems and processes all took place. And you were like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm removing all this shit from my plate so I can focus over here. Because if I don't, and I worry about the little things that might go wrong, I'm never going to grow over here. So I just remember suddenly that week, all these horizons just started opening. I'm like, oh my gosh, there was so much piled up in my brain.
That has stopped you from taking that step.
Right. So I just remember when you woke up, you were like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm writing my 12-week journal because all this shit's going to happen. My words cannot escape me. They cannot escape me.
I love that.
So I was just like, bum, 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 bum. And so when I talked to you and I talked to my coach, I was like, this was going to happen. You were like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, this has been piling up in my brain for years. But I do want this to grow because I know that I'm good at what I do. I'm good at what I do. And then when I started believing in myself on a higher level, I was like, this is going to happen. So I just started going hard. And I knew the long hours was going to be, I knew everything was going to happen. Just like when we started Asian Associates. That aspect of coaching and to do the work was going to start taking place of it. But again, that target book was like, you cannot escape from me, son of a bitches. You will all be targeted. So every single word that came out of my brain and written on paper was like, it's going to happen, because I couldn't escape from it. And sure enough, I'm that person. It's funny. I'm very much coachable. I'm a student when it comes to like, this is going to happen. So when I started talking to my coach and I started telling you, I couldn't escape. I couldn't escape.
Because now it became a reality, right? You're speaking what was once in your mind onto paper, and you're one step closer to making reality. And once you tell other people, then again, that's one additional step. Now it all requires is the action, because without the action, it's not going to come into place. And that's the simplicity of what we teach here, of the Do the Work 12-week target book. And we're going to go through another course here, starting with the Agents of Asian Associates, with all you guys. But I don't want you to disregard the simplicity of something like this, because it's been proven to work. I mean, we're a testimony to that. All the top producers are a testimony that if you just do the small things every single day, you're going to get the ultimate results that you want. But if you start just looking at the big picture all the time, you're going to get overwhelmed by it. More work, more hours. I'm never going to be home. I'm never going to do this, that. Well, that's just operating from the place you're at now. But you get better. You get more efficient. right? You're able to pivot faster as you start doing more of it, and it becomes more of a reality. And, with this, it is getting, as we're going through the different phases of do the work, since, we've been growing that brand. At the first week on the first phase, that was the hardest. The first month was, we were like, we can't sustain this. Now, as we start going through, we got better and we got more people and we got systems in place and we understand the flow chart of things. Now it's becoming more manageable. Now we just got to plug in pieces. And now we're making another decision. We're bringing somebody else on board because now we have to create space for ourselves.
Because I realized in that process that you just said right now, creating more space, because you came to me and said, and I remember just all of you guys, the staff in general, all of you guys just kind of like, where do you want to max it out?
Yeah.
Because I have to max it out with individuals that join, right? Because I'm only a one woman. And I'm like, in my head, as you guys are talking, I'm like, I don't want to max it out.
Yeah.
There has to be something that could be done. And so it was like, I wasn't going to change it and I wasn't going to weaken by the hard work that was coming. There is no max. I don't want to max this out. I got to keep going. So anyway, going to, I'm sorry I interrupted you, but you're making such great points.
Yeah. And there's a lot of resistance with that, right? Because it's like, for me too, watching, as we're trying to grow the Asian Associates and help our agents grow their businesses, right? And I consider us like a coaching and consulting company for our agents, right? It's not necessarily the ABCs of real estate. It's like the 1, 2, 3s of owning a business and the mindset that's required to show up on a daily basis. And as business owners, we have a lot of responsibility outside of the business. And what a lot of people don't understand is that the things outside of the business is what keeps you from growing your business within. And that's why we continually just consult and coach our agents, say, okay, this is the way we did it. And this is the patterns that have proven to work. Now, you can go out and get that advice from somewhere else, but I want you to see the big picture. Is that everything that you're looking or seeking to do? And with what we're doing is we're just showcasing every element that we can do all things at a high level. And I think for the most part, I would say the grand majority of the agents with Asian Associates also see that it is possible to run a life on fire in all aspects and all fronts, right? We don't have a weak front. We have all fronts covered. And with that, understanding that it is your responsibility now to continue to push yourself. Just because you hit a milestone, and I've seen people say, I want to hit $8 million in sales. So they hit that and they almost like take it easy because that was the big goal, as opposed to saying, once I hit 8, I'm going for 12. And that's the key to all this, to continue to feel that fire within, is that in order to get to 12, what do I need to be? Who do I need to be? Who do I need to plug into place? And what systems do I need to put in place? And that's the process we've been following for many, many years. And although, Carla, like there were so many days where I'm like looking at you and you look tired, you looked beat up,
really,
you looked, your hair was all disheveled,
really.
But as time progressed, you were like, okay, I'm plugging it in, but I have to do the hard work first. And you're not afraid of the hard, monotonous work.
No, we've been there for so many years. Been there, done that. I know how it works. As long as my mind is straight, as long as I look at the pain as like the outcome of being the success of like it all, like it's just, I'd rather go through the whole entire process of the pain, the lack of sleep, and all these things that are going to hit me. And then at the end of the road, be like, damn, I built all that. And, and then what's next? Not like, okay, I built all that. Let me sit pretty. It's like, no, I built all that. If I can do that, what else can I do?
What else can I do?
So I'm never comfortable. And people always say, don't you ever vacation? Don't you ever? No, I don't. It's meant for you, but it's not meant for me. And there's a reason for that. I love the hard work. I really, really do. And again, I was always told, work smarter, not harder. I'm like, I don't really abide by that. I don't think it's good. I mean, before I was young and I believed it, but I don't think that's good. I don't like it. And when I fall a little short of like my mindset, you're like, hey, do you really want to kick back a little bit? I'm like, no, I need someone to tell me to keep grinding, keep going, because it feels too good. When we got into this building, it seemed so easy to get into this building, right? But because we worked our asses off for years to get to this point, and now that we're here, we never sat and like, oh, okay, let's go take a vacation. I don't think we've taken one.
We haven't.
It was more like, hey,
we need to do that.
Maybe we do, but again, even if we we love to work. We love to work, and there's nothing, and that's okay. There's something. I'm not going to be ashamed to say that. For many years, I was ashamed to say that, but I'm not ashamed to say that. I love to work. Maybe you don't, and maybe that's not for you, but I like to work. I really, really do. I like to. It brings me joy. And when I'm happy, everyone else around me is happy. And that's what matters the most. Everyone shines. Everyone, I deliver at a high level when I'm happy. when I feel like I have to hide from the fact that I haven't taken vacations and I need this, and I get it. I really, really do get it. Because sometimes I do need them. I do need them. I need time away with my kids. But they get the happy me no matter what, right? So, but again, going back to when we got this building, we moved in here, we're like, okay, what's next? What's next for all of us? What's next for our staff? What's next to, bring more value for our agents? What can we do? And so we started bringing more into the process, right? It wasn't like, oh, let's just sit pretty. We met our goal. It's like, no, okay, now we can actually do more things with more space and bring more value to our agents. And, so many other things started happening in our lives, and they're amazing. And do I want a vacation right now? No, it's not the time. But, again, if I do, we get away for the weekend. We do things. So don't take us wrong. But at the same time, we enjoy the hard work because we've been there before.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to look down and say, wow, we've created a lot. We've created a lot, and we never got comfortable.
Yeah, and I think that's getting comfortable was the first step to really unraveling what you've built over all these years. And one of the things that as small business owners, as you start growing your business, is about what experience do you want to give your clients? What does it mean to go to you as the agent? Once they come through the doors of your business, what is the client going to experience as they move on? And that's where the focus now has to go, that in order to expand and to be able to get qualified buyers and qualified listings, and without having to do a song and dance, it's like you got to over deliver on an experience. And with everything that we've done, right, the focus is always on delivering. It's not that we're going to half-ass things. And I think people have trusted us with that once we bring something new to the table, we're going to put our heart and soul to it, because that's just the way we operate every aspect of our life. So why would we come up short in this little thing, right? And that's what we did with the first phase of Do the Work. And a lot of those people, we didn't have all the before and after photos. We didn't have all the testimonials. They just knew that we had a passion, and you had a passion to delivering. So the first people that came through the doors of that were like, hey, I don't know what this is about, but I'm leaning all in. And they're seeing the massive results. Now they're leading and pioneering this. And that led to motivate others that were watching them, which motivated others that were watching them. And now it becomes a domino effect. So with your business, if you just focus on over delivering, right? And really getting down to what they're going to experience when they come through the doors of your business, you'll start getting that domino effect of their family and their friends, because they become raving fans for your business.
It's amazing they say that, because that's one thing that you've coached me through, because I've saw you develop and create A's and Associates that way, where you started bringing in certain individuals, and it started with certain individuals. You started creating an environment, you started creating a culture almost. And it was motivating to the next agent, and the next agent felt like, what are you doing different? How are you so happy? How are your numbers so high? And then, the domino effect started, through A's and Associates, through coaching, through badass agents. So you were constantly, the system remained the same, but the modifications and everything that you made within the system, that you added more, and you made A's and Associates a phenomenal place to be, an environment that you created that's always on fire, a culture that you created. So I've watched you through that process, because I'm right alongside of you. And so you've coached me to believe more into the work, into the fitness part of it. Like, wow, like it's just a domino effect. Yeah. But what you've created into the work is no different than what we did in A's and Associates.
Yeah, no.
And you've created that like constantly. And I remember kind of being pushy on, like, you're changing the brand, you're changing the name, all this money's going on, all this investment. You're like, just stop, because this is what is required. So I'm like, damn. And I'm so glad that you, of course, it was, you and I are night and day sometimes, but at the end of the day, we have the same goal in mind.
Yeah, the way we get there sometimes is different, but we all have the same goal.
We have the same goal. We want everyone around us to succeed. We want our agents to benefit from everything. Yeah. But the culture you created here at A's and Associates, AZ, it's the same thing that you've had me and pushed me at Do the Work. And I can't say that enough. I said that as your sales meeting. Like, I don't think you realize what you've made, what you've created, a monster. And so, but through simplicity of just me being by your side, not following you, because I'm very hard-headed. And I'm very but I'm very coachable. So I'm always watching you. And so the culture you created is phenomenal. But again, I've created alongside with you. I'm there with you. But I mean, A's and Associates has developed, but everything you're doing here at Domino Effect at Do the Work.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing, because this is about all of us rising, right? Because the same fire that I may bring to somebody, I get the same in return. Like, people don't understand that I get the fire from seeing our agents just growing massively to becoming top 1%ers. But not only that, like bringing marriages together or losing 50, 60, 70 pounds. Like, that is what excites me. And again, I think that's what continues to motivate me, because these guys are moving at a high level. right? They're moving at such a high level. I don't want to be left behind. And I think that's what we have to lean into, not about the work that is going to be required, but what's going to happen if you don't? You're going to feel like you're left behind. Yep. You're going to feel a little resentful. You're going to feel like, you're not moving fast enough. But even today, like at the gym, we were all hanging out, and one of our agents, Rio, was there, and some other agent comes up and says, hey, I see you all the time on your social media channels. And I guarantee you that person never liked, engaged, never, sent a message, but there's an awareness around him and his hard work because he is determined, right, to become an authority in the marketplace. And that's our determination, is to showcase, hey, I'm so good that I want to deliver for you, your family, and not only that, inspire other agents to be like, how are you doing it? And for us, it's been the same thing. Like, I don't want the success and only be like, hey, I'm the high man on the totem pole. That's not what I want. I want to be able to be surrounding myself with the players that are here with A's and Associates and watching them grow exponentially. And if you focus on the experience, again, the experience and not necessarily the work, you'll realize how much further you actually get.
And I love that you said that, because I'm talking to a lot. I'm talking to a lot of my groups, mainly a certain group that is only focusing on other individuals' results. They're not focusing on their hard work. So they're not taking appreciation of their hard work. So when they're seeing the results, sometimes they're like, well, nothing has changed for me. It's like a lot has changed for you. You're in a better position than you were months ago today, but you're only seeing the person next to you on the results, but you have no idea what they've been through on those results. Why don't you just focus on the fire all this is bringing you? How do you feel? How do you feel versus how do you see, right? How do you feel? Because that feeling is bringing more energy to other people, more power. So it'll help you rise at a higher level. But if you're just focusing, if I'm focusing on other programs, oh my gosh, I would burn. Yeah. I would burn. I would crash and burn.
You would feel this small.
I would feel small if I'm focusing on what she's doing and he's doing in their programs. It's like, no, I'm just going to focus on Carla and become really good.
Really good at their results.
At the results, exactly. So it's going to continue firing me up. I'm not going to focus on other people's programs and other fitness instructors and whatever the fuck they're doing. I'm going to focus on Carla, Araujo, and that's it. And the results that I'm seeing. And I'm going to become really good. So good that people are going to not forget who I am, right? They're going to just remember me. And I'm becoming that. And and it's like, and it feels amazing. And it feels so powerful that it's having me deliver in other aspects of my life. Yeah. So I'm showing up powerful, but I'm not going to focus on other trainers and other programs. I just can't do that. I will crash and burn every single time.
And that's what happens a lot in real estate as well. The tremendous growth that one goes through over the last year, 2 years, and then they compare themselves to somebody else, all of a sudden they feel small. And if we focus on how far we've actually come, it really fuels you to be like, this is what I want to do. Right. I want to get really, really good at what I'm doing here. And, once you realize you're really, really good, it's taking that next step after that and saying, okay, where do I need to apply to create some space in my life? Right. And again, it's those things that we need to do right now. If you've been thinking about an employee, if you've been thinking about transaction coordinator, if you've been thinking about new software, if you've been thinking of personnel, whatever it may be, it's got to be done now, because it's going to put you so much farther ahead by taking those steps now and not saying, well, in 6 months I'm going to be ready, or in a year I'm going to be ready. It's you're good, feed into that, and be willing to invest in yourself. But I love when you always say, I'm going to get really good at this, because that is the truth. But we want to go ahead and leave you with that, guys. Like, to become really good, right? You got to focus on the result and what you're delivering. I don't care where you're at. If you're a $5 million producer or a $20 million producer, like, understand that there's more within you. There's more within you, and you're in an environment that will help fuel that. Just continue to listen to that voice in your head and put it down on paper, and then tell others about it. And we're making moves right now, Carla, that are going to be even scarier than what we got into this building, but we're prepared for it. I mean, it excites us. The fear excites us.
What's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst that can happen? Lose it all? Fuck, I've been there before.
Me and AZ have this motto. What is our motto? Yeah. You want to say it?
Go ahead.
Say it. What do we say?
We're all like, F it.
F it.
We're going all in.
We're going deep, but let's just go all in.
Let's just go all in.
Let's go all in.
Let's just go all in, because we understand it. We can navigate through that space of, if it does all fall through, we know what to do. But it's not, because we have that experience from many years before. So if we're going to go big, we're going to go all the way in, right?
Go all the way in.
And that's what we all need to have, that same mindset that, hey, that fear can't paralyze us, and we can't just focus on the work. Let's focus on the result. How is it going to make you feel? Who are you going to become? and how powerful you're going to feel. Like that's contagious. Guys, that's all we have. Thank you again for joining us for this episode of Mindset Mastery. Carla, thank you for being here, my co-host today. And
thank you. And I appreciate everything you do and everything you bring to the business.
We carpooled today. We carpooled today.
Yeah.
So love you.
Love you too.
Love you guys.
Thank you. We love you guys. And thank you all so much for your support.
And we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
Bye
now. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Badass Agents Podcast, brought to you by AZ & Associates and Do the Work Coaching and Consulting. You can watch this and other episodes by subscribing to our channel on YouTube or by visiting us directly at badassagents.com. And of course, you can listen to this episode and many others on your preferred podcast provider.